Good afternoon, my friends. This is Paul, and today I'm going to be reviewing to you Yoshi's Woolly World for the Wii U. You might be thinking, wait a minute, Paul, you reviewed Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World on the 3DS, which is a remake of this game. Why would you go back to the original version? The main reason is because I have a capture card now, and now I can actually show you guys footage of the game instead of just talking about it. And I've heard that most of you prefer those kinds of reviews anyway. However, in this game's case, for the sake of brevity, I want to make an exception and just say that since the games are very, very similar, I would recommend you just watch my original review if you're completely new to the Yoshi's Woolly World series, and just know that my opinions are pretty much the same here on the Wii U. But the purpose of this review will be to talk about the differences between the versions, as opposed to doing an in-depth analysis of the entire game. So for starters, everything is in HD, and you also have the option to play in both handheld and on the TV. Yes, this was way before the Switch came out. You also don't have the Poochie Dash levels, but to replace them, you have some bonus minigames where you play as Yoshi, and you try to collect as many beads as possible. In one minigame's case, you collect as many fruits as possible, and depending on how you do in the minigames, that'll give you more beads. I don't think these are as good as the Poochie levels in my opinion, so I'm definitely glad that the 3DS remedied that. You also don't get the bonus Poochie Dash levels, there's less amiibo patterns, you get stamps instead of crafting patches. So for example, if you loved creating your own Yoshi patterns in the 3DS version, you can't do that here. Instead, if you collected enough stamps, you'd be able to post them onto Miiverse. But since that no longer exists, you kinda just look at them now. I guess it gives the completionists more to do, because then they can say, oh good, I have this really cutely drawn image of a Shy Guy as a reward for collecting so many beads, yay! You also can't use the Poochie amiibo in this, but thankfully the bead requirement for having Poochie play alongside you in a level is pretty short. You only spend 500, and you usually average like 1,000 to 2,000 beads per level, so that shouldn't really be much of a tax on your bead collecting ability. Thankfully, Poochie still is in the game, so it's not like you're missing out on any functionality. Another big addition that the Wii U version has over the 3DS version is, one, it looks better, and also it has co-op. The 3DS version did allow you to scan a Yoshi amiibo to have a Yoshi helping you, and while that particular mode works much better on the 3DS, I have to say that even though I haven't tested it, I would love it if it was possible if I could play this in 2 players with someone. Unfortunately, the Wii U can only support one gamepad at a time, so someone will have to have either a Pro controller or a Classic controller or a Wii Remote. For some odd reason, I don't think the nunchuck is actually supported in this game, which is bizarre because the Wii U can use a nunchuck, it just doesn't. So overall, if you're wondering, well Paul, is this just a worse version of Yoshi's Crafted World on the Switch? No, actually, this is, in my opinion, way better than Crafted World, and it has much, much, much better music. The tracks in this game are so stunning that I'm honestly curious why more of them weren't in Smash Brothers, as some of these tracks are some of the most catchy and upbeat platforming tunes I've ever heard, outside of the Sonic series. So with that, most of my opinions from the 3DS version are the same. I don't think I'm as glowingly positive about the level design as I used to be, because back then I hadn't played stuff like Celeste and Evergate, but I still think the level design is a perfect mixture of challenging but fair gameplay. And even though it's not mind-numbingly hard until you get to that secret level, it still offers a decent amount of challenge so that you don't think it's like Kirby's Epic Yarn all over again. You also don't get the Poochie Pups when you're in mellow mode, so completionists will have a little bit harder of a time than they did on the 3DS version, but the mellow mode still gives Yoshi the wings, and it still allows him to flutter infinitely instead of the limited hover jumps that he has in classic mode. So you still have options to make the game easier, it's just not as friendly for completionists as it was on the 3DS. So if you have a Wii U, I highly recommend getting this version. If you have a 3DS, then the additional Poochie and Yoshi shorts, the additional Yoshi patterns, and the ability to play new levels with Poochie might be more appealing to you, especially if you're a completionist. But if you want it on the big screen and shiny HD, and even be able to see the little threads of yarn sticking out of the Yoshis, then you'll probably want it on the Wii U. Now, whether this gets ported to the Switch or not, I'm not really sure at the moment. Knowing Nintendo's track record, it probably will be. But at the moment, I can't really say there's a definitive version. It really all depends on what kind of player you are. I would just say if you're a minimalist, get it on the Wii U, but if you're a completionist, get it on the 3DS. So with that, thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or critiques, or if you wish I would have just reviewed the game again instead of just lazily saying go and watch my original review. So it's up to you, whatever your opinion is. So until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, God bless, and I hope you'll give this masterpiece a try, even if it looks too kiddie. Bye!